Like and subscribe on the way in the door. My people, I hope you all are having a great day today. So today we're going to talk about, is it that the older generation just will not let anyone pass Michael Jordan? This topic came about because this seems to be a theme. I said this on another video recently. This seems to be a theme with the 4 and 6ers, with the 4 and 6 kingdom, led by LeBron James. And of course, you know, you got Nick Wright and Shannon Sharp and Gilbert Arenas. Looks like Kevin Garnett has joined that crew now. Kevin Garnett has put on the 4 and 6 jersey. And it seems, like I said, whenever they concede that Michael Jordan is the GOAT, and Gilbert Arenas, like I said, he recently said this on the podcast, the same podcast with Norris Cole and Brandon Jennings talking about Michael Jordan's shoes selling because of how well Michael Jordan played the game. This is on that same podcast. So Gilbert Arenas, first of all, he said that even if someone comes along and wins, is 14-0 in championships, they're not going to let him pass Michael Jordan. And again, this is typical talk from the fanboy logic. Him and Nick Wright and Colin Cowherd and all of those guys, you know, when they concede that Jordan is the GOAT, they say it's simply because people will not let anyone pass Michael Jordan. And then the other thing Gilbert Arenas said was something to the effect that insinuating that you knew it had to be media-driven because Michael Jordan was already being called the GOAT after his first championship. And he's correct. Now, I think it was more like his second championship, probably where it was accepted by most that Michael Jordan was the GOAT. But absolutely, after his first championship, he was definitely being talked about by many as the GOAT. And I would say even before he ever won a championship. You know, the talk was, you know, he simply needs to win to solidify that position. So let's talk about this. First of all, as someone who is definitely a serious Michael Jordan fan, who grew up in the Jordan era. Again, I've said this before, I'm gonna say it again. I probably will keep saying it. But I think I can speak on behalf of most Jordan supporters. We would absolutely 100% love to see another player come along like that. We would love to have our excitement for the game reignited by a player who played fiercely, who worked hard, who was a true competitor, who kept getting better and better, who did truly amazing things night after night, who had that killer mentality. I would settle for another Kobe coming along. I would settle for an Allen Iverson type player to come along. But yeah, we would love to see another player come along who is undoubtedly in the GOAT conversation. Now, having said that, let's talk about Michael Jordan being viewed as the GOAT by many just after his first championship. Because I've heard some of you fanboys have mentioned that in my comments too. The question you have to ask is, why is that? Why, after just one championship, would people be looking at Michael Jordan as the GOAT? Why, before he ever won a championship, were a lot of people saying, well, hey, he just needs a championship to solidify that because he's already the best player we've ever seen. All right, fanboys, buckle up. Here we go. This is the thing. I truly believe, you know, we've gotten to this point in a society, it's society, but I'm speaking more from sports fans and sports media, where I think the general criteria of someone's greatness is some combination of eye tests, accolades, statistics for most people. Again, to me, I heavily rely on the eye test. But here's the thing. I truly believe that the eye test is actually the biggest factor. This is why Michael Jordan was already being talked about as the GOAT after one championship. This is why Michael Jordan, before he ever won his first championship, people were already saying he was the greatest player they've ever seen. The eye test, people. Fanboys, yeah, you about to get a lesson today. See, the eyes don't lie. And I think when your game truly speaks for itself, it speaks before you even get the accolades. When people know that they are witnessing something great on the court, you don't need one championship to say that. Like, people knew that Michael Jordan was eventually going to get those rings. Now, did Michael Jordan get criticized? Absolutely. He got criticized for many things. For not having a jump shot, fix that. Take notes, fanboys. Not having a jump shot, he fixed that immediately. And just side note, someone commented because I said on another video, I said by Michael Jordan's second three-peat, he was deadly from the mid-range. And someone commented on my video and said something about by 89, he was deadly. I'm not saying Jordan hadn't fixed his mid-range before the second three-peat. But what I am saying is by the second three-peat, because his athleticism had waned some, he really started to heavily rely on the jumper. So as great as his jumper was, because yes, he had fixed that jumper long before the second three-peat. You know, I agree. Probably about 88, 89, Michael Jordan was a great jump shooter. But he became deadly by the second three-peat because he relied on it a lot more. He relied less on his athleticism. But anyway, so yeah, they said he couldn't shoot, fixed that. Said he couldn't play defense, he fixed that. You know, all these things that they said about him, he just continued to prove them wrong over and over again. This is something LeBron James has not done. But more importantly, like I said, Michael Jordan's game was so extraordinary that people understood immediately that they were witnessing something that they had never seen before. That they were witnessing that this guy was just on a level that the rest of the league was not on. So, yes, I believe in any conversation about rankings, to me, really, the eye test is the heaviest factor. Now, you know, again, everybody has their own criteria, but when you fanboys want to question and say, oh, you guys were already saying Michael Jordan was the GOAT by his second championship or by his first championship or before he had ever even won. Well, again, why is that, fanboys? That is because Michael Jordan's game was that extraordinary. And this is why, you know, it's been said many times that when the next person comes along who actually has a chance to be the GOAT, there will not have to be a conversation about it. We will all know immediately that we are witnessing something spectacular once again. Now, so something else I want to talk about is the comparison of eras. To me, if you want to compare the superstars of different eras, if you want to say that LeBron James is not close to Michael Jordan, and he's not, but I'm going to give you two reasons, you know, besides a plethora of reasons, but right now we're just going to talk about two reasons as it pertains to comparing the eras. To me, you can compare the eras in two ways. You can try to compare a direct comparison of LeBron James to Michael Jordan. How skilled is LeBron compared to Michael Jordan? And we all know that's not a comparison. Michael Jordan is in a realm from a skill standpoint and really from an athletic standpoint too. I mean, LeBron James is athletic for his size and build. But when we're just talking about athleticism and being capable of speed, quickness, and agility that the rest of the league is not on, like LeBron James is just more like a Shaq. But his athleticism is not on par with a Michael Jordan. It's not close. But yeah, so we know that LeBron doesn't compare to Michael Jordan from a skill standpoint. It's just not close. But here's the other way that you can compare him. Okay, well, had LeBron dominated his era the same way that Michael Jordan dominated his era? And again, that is a resounding no. And here's where we're going to get into this. Let's talk about the evolution of basketball, or more importantly, the evolution of players. Because, again, something that they love to keep going is this whole notion that players are more athletic and skilled than they were, back in Jordan's era. I call false on this. And here's what to me, first of all, when you're talking about human evolution, to me that takes hundreds upon thousands of years for some true human evolution to take place. If we're talking about humans actually being more athletic, if that is actually the case at all, because to me, I think humans are what humans have always been. Now, what I think is different is what we spend our time doing. Before basketball existed, then people weren't trying to play basketball, so you have no athleticism within the game of basketball. Once basketball started, and knowing how to play basketball is passed down to the generations, then what you have is people playing it earlier and earlier. And to me, what you have today is just the fact that these kids now have access to the information earlier than they did in the Jordan era. Not that kids weren't playing basketball in the Jordan era as kids, but and honestly, let's sidestep again for a second, folks. This is something else I've mentioned in other videos. To me, the problem with this access to information is we have created a league full of clones. Every player looks the same. Every team runs the same offense. It's like I said, to me, everybody's dribbling looks the same. Everybody's shot looks the same. It's just not a lot of originality like it was in the 90s. To me, there's something to be said when you have to figure out a way to get the information on your own versus having it presented to you from this way that has been agreed upon by everybody that is the best way to do it. But yeah, back in the day when you had to figure out how, you had to figure out your own crossover. You had to figure out how to dribble on your own and get your own style that worked for you. To me, that created a league full of players that just had very different styles. When you're talking about Tim Hardaway, when you're talking about your Allen Iversons, your Rod Stricklands, your Stephon Marburys, your D Browns, if anybody remembers that guy. Just anybody in the league you can name it back then. Your Stacey Augmans, the Plastic Man, your Vinnie Johnsons, your Isaiah Thomas. How could I forget Isaiah? Just countless different styles. Your Chris Mullins, your Deadlift Shrimps, your Gary Paytons, your Sean Kemps. Like I said, everybody just has such a different style that you can tell was honed on their own. Probably growing up playing street ball, growing up playing against, your brothers, your friends and family. Everybody just had their own style, which doesn't exist today. That's another thing that drives me crazy about the modern NBA. It's just the fact that everything looks so much alike, But anyway, yeah, so the evolution of the game. To me, these younger kids just have access to information at a younger age. So they come up, in quotation marks, playing the right way, learning the correct way to dribble, learning how to enhance their jumping ability at an earlier age, which I'm going to say this as well. I'm not sure if this is the right thing because these players seem to be getting injured more than the players of earlier decades. I really don't understand this. Like, to me, the NBA needs, I need an explanation for why these so-called more durable, more athletic players seem to get injured at a higher rate. And I don't want to hear anything about, it's the game is faster paced, because there's been different times in the history of the NBA where the game has been nearly as fast as it is today. I think today officially is probably at the fastest, but these injuries have been going on, at least for the last decade or more. But yeah, let's say theoretically you wanted to actually believe that people were actually just more athletic simply based on human evolution over the last, 30 years, 30, 40 years to now. People have literally just evolved to something more athletic. Then you would assume that if the average player in the NBA today is more athletic, then that should make the superstars more athletic as well. But we know that's not the case. There is not a superstar in this league today that is more athletic than Michael Jordan was. Name me one superstar that is more athletic than Michael Jordan was. And a lot of people tend to think Vince Carter had more ups than Michael Jordan. I don't think that. But even if he did have more ups than Michael Jordan, he's not more athletic than Michael Jordan was. He doesn't have the overall quickness, jump off one or two legs, reflexes. He doesn't have that. And then just the overall durability of Michael Jordan. Like I said, played 82 games, 9 times in his career? And then we all know the stories about Michael Jordan didn't sleep that much on top of it. But anyway, we gonna hold up here. Like I said, I just kind of wanted to address this whole notion that for some reason the older generation just won't let anyone pass Michael Jordan. If someone comes along and they are 20-0 in the finals, nobody's gonna let them pass Michael Jordan. No, that's not the truth. We would love nothing more than to see a player come along like that. And fanboys, here's a sign for you. When a player actually comes along like that, you won't have to convince anybody. That player won't have to convince anybody. It will just be recognizable by the way he plays basketball. If a player comes along like that, there will be talks of that before he wins his first championship. Like I said, before Michael Jordan ever won, there were already talks that, this is the best player we've ever seen. He still has to find a way to win a championship, but this is the best player we've ever seen on a basketball court. You cannot say that about LeBron James. You know it in your heart, fanboys. But anyway, that's what we're here for. We're going to keep pumping this truth down your throats. So, but anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Jordan fans, or even if you're not a Jordan fan, if someone else is your GOAT, and you're just from the older generation, what do you think? Is it that you just refuse to let go of your GOAT? Or when someone comes along who excites you in that same way, you will gladly relinquish that position? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. You all have a truly fantastic day, and I will see you next time. All right.